Good morning, Dubai. Welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show, where we go through the top trending stories that everyone across the country is talking about. Is traffic about to reduce? We have an RTA update on that.
And UAE schools shift schedules to deal with the heat.
We're talking about Her Highness Sheikha Mahras Divorce. Perfume is back.
And a driver was arrested for 137 violations and 104,000 dirhams in fines.
Better them, not us. Also, later on in the show, Your Truth is Not the Only Truth with Sarah Al-Grubi. We're so excited to have the conversation with her.
And today's rapid weather report, it's dusty with temperatures ranging from 29 Celsius to 38 Celsius.
Dusty here. It's also fashion's biggest night in the United States. Apparently the Met Gala. The theme is tailored for you. We're getting so many cool visuals in. The who's who of celebrities are there.
Okay, so I thought Ariana was there, but when I researched a bit, apparently she said she was not going to the Met Gala this year, and she did not attend, although she attends every event.
Oh, I hope she's okay.
I hope she's okay, or maybe I don't know, I doubt she didn't get invited though.
Oh, she's definitely invited.
She's definitely
Every designer
invited.
would want to. Because I heard that, because it's apparently like $75,000 a ticket.
Whoa.
And I'm thinking, are some of these paying for tickets?
I think not, no. I think they get invited by designers.
The designers pay for the tables.
Yeah, and they invite the celebrities.
So it's like $350,000 for a table.
I think if you're a celebrity, it might cost more to buy the ticket, but if you're a designer, I think it would cost less, because Met Gala is all about showing off the looks.
Yeah, but I think the Met Gala would rather having the Alicia Keys, Anne Hathaways there than the designer themselves. So if Anne Hathaway was like, no designer is giving me a seat.
No, I mean if you personally want to go and buy the ticket, purchase the ticket.
Well, Kate Upton, who is a model, apparently is one of the few who did pay in 2012, and she paid $25,000 for her seat. She wrote a check to Vogue. Oh, that's true.
Whoa.
Oh,
and I heard James Charles also paid for his tickets like a while back, a few years back.
So that's basically if like Tom Ford, Gucci, they're all buying tables, and if you just don't you don't get asked.
You don't get to wear the outfit.
But everyone gets asked. Like all of the Kardashians are there this year again. The theme is super fine, tailored for you. So it's lots of people's takes on what tailoring means to them.
But that's a difficult one. Like, what is tailored for you?
It's difficult to wow.
Yeah. Do they pick the celebrity first and then they tailor it according to their style, or what is it? Do they have like a muse? Like, what is it? That's a difficult thing.
Well, I mean, it's everyone's take and how they want to... Like, Anne Hathaway looked like she went for like a classic white shirt and then obviously major embellishments. But then it's the Met Gala, and the Met Gala is all about like the wow factor. So she looks absolutely fabulous, but...
She looks really good.
I thought Alicia Keys kind of nailed it.
She looks so good. I love the look.
Yeah, it's super cool.
It's really nice. But I feel like every year we're getting less and less more interesting looks. Like before, when we used to watch the Met Gala, there was like big gowns, extravagant looks, and then they would have like hair pieces on top of them that were so high, chandeliers.
I do love a headpiece.
Remember?
I think it's always year on year, because
true.
it's always such a specific theme, and I appreciate the people who dress to the theme, but this year was a pretty hard one to
nail.
I would say.
I think the best one was, I'm trying to remember the theme. What was yours?
I can't remember.
There was this one where everyone was wearing gowns. It was like something, period time or something.
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember.
Have they ever had like a Bridgerton era theme? I don't know.
It was similar to Bridgerton era theme, and it was really nice. They had like really amazing looks. It was a period theme.
I can't remember. What will go down in my memory is the Met Gala
Back when people liked Blake Lively.
Oh, I know the one you're thinking of. She looked amazing that year. Let's not. This is not the show that we're going to hate on Blake. Poor Blake. She's just going through it. I actually just read the comments. So I'm like, why do people so... And then I read like news from the US and then the UK to be like, does everyone feel this way? It's just
don't know.
bloody... It's just the media.
It's just the media.
Yeah, poor Blake. Allow it.
But apparently people were crashing the Met Gala.
Yeah, I think this video is, when you see how many videos are getting the most views. So
Yeah.
like Alicia Keys on the Daily Mail Reels page has like 30, 40,000, and then the Met Gala Crashers has 312,000, which means
Whoa.
they're going to make their name from this night.
Exactly, and they're happy, by the way. They were so happy. They were entering, they're smiling. They know they're going to get a lot of views, and they know they're going to get a lot of followers, and they know people are going to search them up, and people are going to want to know more.
Bold move.
Bold move.
Bold move. Good morning to everyone tuning in. OHLCD said hi, and you were the first person to comment. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. As always, we speak about the big trending news in Dubai and beyond, which brings us to our top story of the day.
RTA warns of traffic delays on Emirates roads until end of August. So Dubai drivers, heads up if you're planning to head towards Sharjah this weekend. Brace yourself. The RTA has issued a weekend traffic alert warning major delays on Emirates Road between Dubai Al Ain Road and Al Amardi Al Awir every weekend from 5 to 8 p.m. until August 30, 2025.
So that means some slow-moving traffic on the weekend ahead. So do use this information to plan ahead. To avoid the gridlock, consider alternative routes, such as the Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Road or Al Khail Road.
And the reason, you may ask, the ongoing maintenance aimed at improving traffic flow in the long run, a bit of short-term pain for a long-term gain. So, and speaking of the future, Sheikh Hamdan just reviewed a bold new infrastructure overhaul that promises to completely reshape Dubai's road network by 2027.
Which is just phenomenal. We've spoken about this. The vision includes 226 kilometres of new roads, 115 bridges, driverless taxis operating in 65 zones, and a whopping 842 kilometres of cycling tracks, with some routes cutting down travel time from just 30 to 7 minutes. So if you'd like to cycle to work one day, you need to get yourself to a location where they're enhancing these routes, and then you could cycle. And I swear, encourage your office to get a shower. You could do it even if you're just close. You don't need a shower.
Yeah, if you're close.
And if you're summer.
And if it's winter, how fun is it to cycle to work? I've always wanted to do that because I've always seen it in the movies.
I walked to work for a good few years.
Walking to work,
and
cycling to work.
It's fine if you're in a close enough. Like I told you before, I was walking across the metro and it was fine. We had a guest on the show who ran here barefoot.
Yeah. No, that was crazy.
Yeah, Rami, like...
I mean, he beat the traffic.
He beat the traffic, so...
He arrived before the traffic.
When we're like, get yourself to a location that allows you to do this, you could actually just be like, regardless of the location, I could still do it.
And you know it's really good for you. Blood circulation, health, maintenance, exercise,
endorphins,
productivity.
Nothing can beat fresh air also.
100%. I love walking.
You can do all of the exercise, all of the good eating, but unless you're getting outside into that fresh air.
I know. That's the only thing that I'm so upset about, because as soon as summer enters, it's over for me. I can't do any more walking outdoors sessions.
But it's still winter now. Still manageable.
I mean, it is
the evenings, and by the way, there's another dip. We were all like fearing it went up to 40 this weekend, but it's dipping. It's dusty today.
I noticed that.
Max 39. Go and enjoy this weather. In the evenings, it's been hot in the day. Let's jump into our next story. A driver was arrested for 137 violations and 104,000 dirham in fines. This happened in Sharjah, where the driver was arrested. They had accumulated 304 black points, 137 violations, and as I said, 104,000 dirham in fines.
The driver forged his license plate to avoid detection, but the Sharjah police used advanced surveillance systems to detect the vehicle. The car had an outstanding impoundment period of more than 764 days. And Colonel Omar Mohammed Bou Ghanem, the Deputy Director of Traffic and Petrols Department Police, warns that tampering with license plate is a criminal act. Rest assured that the driver is off the road.
I've seen this driver on the road. I have seen them. You know, I have seen this driver. You know, sometimes there's a car going past and you're like,
how did it get caught? Yeah.
How are you on the roads?
Mm-hmm. I know.
Now I know who it was. It was this guy, because, or girl, I don't know, maybe. Imagine racking up that number of fines. So they were, why do I immediately assume they were tampering with their license plates to evade the fines.
I know some people put, I've heard, I don't know, I read it somewhere that if you can put something over your plate number, and it won't allow it to detect. Yeah, but don't do that.
Well, as we're saying, it's a criminal act.
It's a criminal act, and we're in Dubai, we're in the UAE, so you can't get away with it. You cannot get away with it. But how are you not scared to be racking up this much fines?
No, that's 104,000 dirham. If you don't pay it, you're going to be jailed. It's not what we want to be teaching our kids on these roads. I like when there's like a lesser road limit. Like sometimes the bit that scares, the fines that scare me are the ones in Abu Dhabi that sometimes you get for going too slowly, which we got before. I think I was in a traffic in traffic, and we got a fine for going too slowly.
Yes, yes. Because if you think about it, if you're on the main road, the highway road, it's really dangerous to drive slow.
Yeah, it does.
If all the cars around you are driving really fast and you're going on a really slow speed, it can cause a lot of accidents. If you think about it, it's really dangerous to drive slow.
I remember when I was driving, and I remember the one tip that stuck with me in terms of how to drive, especially in Dubai, was that like driving is all about progress. So you always have to be inching forward. So basically, like, don't like halt on a roundabout. Like you just have to keep moving forward. Just keep going. Just keep going. But like at the right speed. That's the best driving tip I've ever had.
By the way, you know, in Abu Dhabi, what I hate the most is that those, not the highways. It's you don't usually get fines on the highways. You get fines on those roads that you need to drive below 80 or below 60. They have a lot of They have
as you should, because that's what the speed limits are for.
We always get caught. They have a lot of radars there. A lot of them.
Oh.
Those like,
well, there's always lower speed limits on smaller roads.
But there's so many in Abu Dhabi.
Someone's just saying those limits in AD have been removed. I think that's Trishul Tours. Thank you for that comment. I think they're talking about the ones that I'm talking about.
Yeah. The ones that do the slow speeding, yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure
really
they're
dangerous.
still 60 to 80.
There are still 60 to 80 radars.
As there should be, because then things are happening on those roads, like there might be people coming and you just have to make sure that you're following the speed limit.
But still, like, nevertheless, it's still really dangerous to drive really slow on a highway if the speed limit is 140. Moving on to our next story, the UAE school shifts schedule to deal with the heat. So summer is almost here. Kind of. And the heat is turning up fast, with temperatures expected to hit a scorching 48 Celsius and concerns rising among parents. Schools across the UAE have officially shifted their schedule to prioritize student safety and comfort.
So according to Gulf News, the new timings kicked off this week in many government schools, aiming to keep kids cool while still hitting those academic goals. So most schools will now operate from 7:15 to 1:35 p.m. Monday to Thursday and wrap up even earlier on Fridays at 11 a.m. This adjustment primarily applies to public schools and also other schools following the Ministry of Education's curriculum across all Emirates, as the ministry oversees the national education policy. I would say that is music to kids' ears. They are probably absolutely delighted with that.
And please, be grateful for this news, because back when I was in school, we were not allowed to enter it and we were not allowed to sit inside.
Ooh.
We were forced to sit outside in the playground area, and it was 45 degrees and it was in the middle of the day. So be grateful.
What time of the year was this? Summer?
During summer.
So you were forced for how long in the day?
So in the mornings, like around 10 a.m., 20 minutes.
Early break.
And in the afternoon, I don't remember, I think it was 30 minutes or 35 minutes.
But like schools can't get it right, because there's no right answer to this, because when I was teaching, we didn't send, it was KG kids, grade 1 kids, we didn't send the kids out, but then you've got the kids inside all day in a classroom.
True, but if you think about it, you can put us in the gym or something, or the sports center.
Yeah, we were a school of over 1,000-something kids. We weren't bringing the KG kids over to the gym because it would be packed with all the others. I don't know. So then you had your 20-minute break was in the classroom. Lunch, we walked over to the canteen. We walked back, and then we were in the classroom most of the day. But it was from 8 until 2.
What a privilege! What a privilege to be sitting inside. We had to sit outside in the heat.
Yeah,
it was really bad. Like as soon as we entered the month of June.
Yeah, June is hot.
We tried complaining, but no one listened.
Well, someone's listening now.
But someone is listening, so be grateful for that news.
And interesting, with the Ministry of Education schools, I believe the teachers will stay on, so they'll still do their full day, but the kids will get a little bit respite from heat. You know what I do love about this, though, is that someone did listen. you know, and like
Someone
if this
did listen, yeah.
someone listened, and it's sometimes difficult in some countries to make kind of a majority rule like this pass quite quickly, you know, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember this before the school timing shifts, did they?
No, when I remember it back like, a few years back, we never shifted.
So I think it's
Unless
quite
it was Ramadan,
cool
that's
that, yeah, exactly, but
Yeah.
it's able to be like, okay, let's try this year.
Yeah,
And then
let's
next
try this
year,
year.
go back. Give it a go.
It will work, trust me. Everyone's gonna love it.
Massa approved. You know what else is Massa approved? Her Highness Sheikha Mahras Divorce perfume. It is back. Following a social media disappearance, Her Highness Sheikha Mahras perfume brand is making a comeback. So in case you've been living under a rather large rock, the Dubai princess, who's the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, launched her own fragrance line. It's called Mahra M1 in September 2024 with its debut perfume named Divorce.
The brand's Instagram page and the photos of Her Highness with the perfume have been removed. But one video shared on Her Highness page proved it's back up and in production and will be yours for a price tag of 1,000 dirhams.
So my background on this is it was extremely popular. I don't know how many were in production at the beginning, but there was a lot of interest.
Yeah.
And then it disappeared. We didn't know what was happening. So, and I love the video because it's like, boss lady
look
working,
at her.
making it happen. Yeah.
But I think the reason why they disappeared, maybe because they did not expect this much,
So much interest, maybe.
So they had to disappear for a while until they produced more perfumes to accommodate for this
We shall not
high
speculate.
demand.
I would love to smell it. I would love to know if it's gone like a floral or more of an oud.
I think because it says divorce, it's going to have a strong scent to it.
It's going to be strong. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the you won't forget this one.
No, it's like divorce. Out and up
Queen,
and strong.
boss. Well, there you go. It is back.
back.
The website is up and running if you would like more information on it. But it's 8:46 on this Tuesday morning, which means it's time to welcome our next guest. We're super excited to welcome Sarah Al-Gharoubi after this very short break. She is the host of the Native Informant podcast. guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Sarah Al-Ghroubi, the creative voice and the host of the podcast, The Native Informant. She's known for exploring identity, culture, and self-expression in thoughtful and honest ways. Through the podcast, Sarah encourages us to question, reflect, and show up as our true selves. Here to tell us all about it, directly from the horse's mouth. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you so much for having me.
Thank you so
Excited
much
to
for
be
being
here.
here.
We're
Thank you
excited
so
for the
much.
chat.
So can you explain what is the Native Informant?
Sure. The Native Informant is an online platform where we open social dialogues and discuss maybe hard-hitting, highbrow conversations that might not be comfortable or have not been removed from behind closed doors. But the sort of main ethos of the platform is to give voices to marginalized and underrepresented groups, as well as centering the Arab voice in the conversation.
So interesting. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning.
Sure.
How and why did it start?
How did it start? So if people know me and have followed me online, I've always kind of put myself in a situation where it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. And I enjoy having hard-hitting conversations that people wouldn't otherwise have. I think it's important to have honest dialogue and to provide different narratives to conversations that might be considered a little bit heavy. And so I had a platform called the Letters Project, which gave voices to marginalized and underrepresented groups. And I felt that the Native Informant was just an extension of this thesis statement of wanting to have these conversations in a longer format. And then in a dinner party, a friend of mine said, you know, why don't you call it the Native Informant? Because that refers to somebody who's giving outsiders insight on specific experiences. And I was like, you know what? Okay. And that's how it started.
Have you had any personal experiences that pushed you to start maybe this podcast or start digging into more controversial ideas?
I think I've always been fascinated with the notion of duality. I grew up in the West predominantly, and being somebody who's half Emirati, half Syrian, is trying to navigate those the multiplicity of identity. And so I was always raising questions, always really curious about having that type of dialogue. And so it only seemed natural to have an extension like the Letters Project or the Native Informant. So I think in a way it was me uncovering truths about myself and certain experiences. And so it just almost feels like a long-winded question that I have. And then every once in a while I get nuggets of wisdom that keep adding to this layer of self-discovery, which I think is great.
What topics were you most excited to explore? And since the Native Informant has kind of become popular, what topics do you think resonate most with your audience?
Well, interestingly enough, one of the main themes that people usually bring up when they meet me and we have conversations, whether it was the Letters Project or the Native Informant, is they said, finally, you know, I feel like I'm not alone, or I feel like an aspect that was very nuanced to my experience is all of a sudden a universal message that I never knew existed. And so it kind of humanizes people and it brings people back to the bare bones of like, what it means to be human, what it means to have empathy, to have compassion, to have struggle, to feel like you don't belong, or the need for social inclusion, to find resonance in these types of experiences. So it's not a particular story, it's more the overarching narrative that comes with these types of heavy-hitting conversations.
In one of your videos, you discussed the Matrix, and I know it's been a hot topic for many. Do you believe that we're living in an autopilot?
That's a long-winded, convoluted way of asking a very nuanced question. But the answer is I definitely think that multiple realities exist from the perspective of the media or perspective of what we're witnessing in this certain social zeitgeist. And I think having platforms like the Native Informant provides alternative narratives or perhaps like counter narratives to exist simultaneously with other people's opinions. And I saw on social media you said, like, you know, your truth is not the only truth, which is absolutely something that I seem to kind of regurgitate when I talk to people. I'm just like, you know, your reality is your reality, my reality is my reality. But at the end of the day, there is something that lies as the midpoint, the in-between of us and you, or us versus them, that is the truth that resonates with a vast majority of the people. And I think, you know, to advocate for that or to speak up on situations like that, I think is very important.
What surprised you the most, or what has been, I guess, the biggest learning for you throughout these conversations?
That's an interesting one. I think that a lot of people feel the need to exist in their own reality and not realize that there are larger narratives to exist. Kind of, I guess, an extension from the last question that you just asked, because we live in a world right now where everything is so polarizing, or even online platforms are existing in a very binary way of thinking. And I've said this on my platform, you're either with us or you're against us. If your ideology doesn't align with mine, and therefore it's rendered invalid in my opinion. And it becomes this kind of fight for who's right, who's more validated, who's more important. And I think those social hierarchies get broken down with things like the Native Informant, because I'm asking for somebody who might not necessarily agree with me fully, but we can have those conversations and allow for maybe a conversation that has happened behind closed doors to exist on a platform where they're like, oh, I resonate with that, or I don't,
Yeah.
What are other ways that people can break free from their own perception of reality, do you think?
I think just knowledge and understanding, the more that you know and the more that you enlighten yourself with wisdom and other people's experiences, the more that you can fragment or shatter, or what I would say like dismantle these notions of what it means to be you against the rest of the world. And I think against the social zeitgeist that we feel now, we are seeing alternative ways of thinking and alternative ways of existing that might not align with the truth that we were raised to believe or socially programmed to believe. So I think that the more knowledge and understanding and wisdom that you can impart on yourself, then you can disseminate that into the world, and being open and receptive to it, because a lot of the time these conversations happen with people that like, I'm not interested in your opinion, or I don't want to have this conversation. And I think it's important to be open to those.
Have you ever received backlash for a video you posted?
Have I? The question is, have I not received backlash? Of course I have. It's like literally my middle name. Being a sort of social martyr when it comes to these types of conversations, absolutely have received. It's like second nature to receive social backlash.
What are the topics usually about? Like, gets people heated.
I mean, anything that is considered slightly highbrow, literally anything. It could be a topic of, gender. It could be a topic of identity. It could be a topic of, can we debate what humanity is? Like certain conversations, because I think we live in a very sort of socially and culturally sensitive time. So everyone is #triggered by anything that you say, instead of having debate take place or conversation. Like, you and I can have a crazy conversation where we completely disagree, but the gloves are off in the conversation. But then when we're all done, we can go have a coffee later. So I think allowing for these conversations and debate to actually be debate is, I think, very important.
But do you feel the need to justify what you're doing to the people who don't see it that way?
Okay, so
do you respond?
Yes, I think in the past I felt the need to justify or add disclaimers to disclaimers to disclaimers, once, twice, thrice over. But now I think to be a disruptor, or to be somebody that goes against the grain or goes against conventions, if I continue to do what other people feel that I'm doing is, incorrect in their eyes, and I sort of cow out and safeguard myself because I'm afraid of what other people would say or people's opinions, then I will never grow as a person. I will continue to disrupt, and I will continue to disappoint people, and I am happy to disappoint as many people as possible, because it means that I'm staying authentic and true to myself and my belief system. And if I have the privilege to have platforms where I can advocate for voices, I think what better way to do that because I think you guys have you had Layla Saleh on the platform, and she said something in the interview that you guys had with her, which was, she said, at the end of days when I'm no longer here, I don't want to meet my maker a coward. And I absolutely resonate and echo with that sentiment. So if I can put my head on the pillow and know that I operated from a place of good faith and authenticity, then that's all that matters to me. It sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
Have you always had that thick skin?
Absolutely, yeah. And this is not to say that I haven't been broken in the past or I haven't faced the backlash that has gotten to me. I mean, I'm human at the end of the day, but I think you have to have thick skin in order to be in that sphere. I've always been someone who is considered somewhat contrarian. And so anything I do, just like existing as I am, not even saying anything, it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you sitting in silence, And so it just kind of comes with the territory, and you have to build that thick skin. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, really.
With that being said, have you ever had a phase in your life where you said, I don't have my life figured out?
Literally like every other day. Every other day. I think it's, like, I think if you don't have structure to your life and everything has these peaks and troughs and it ebbs and flows, you're on the right path, because you're not supposed to know where you're ending up. You're supposed to have all these moments in life that kind of push you towards the type of person that you want to be. And I always say that, you know, we're in the journey of of being, but it's more not necessarily the state of being, but the state of becoming. Because, I mean, Carl Jung has said this, and it's a butcherized version, so don't come for me, people who are youngins. But there is this idea that you have your sense of self. It's the first version of yourself. And then you have a second version of yourself, which is the ideal version of yourself. And you can choose whether you want to elevate your actual self to meet your ideal self, or you want to lower the ideal self so that your actual self can meet it. But what you really want to aim for is the third version of yourself. And it's what is known as the reconciliation of the third. So you spend your whole life aligning yourself with the first and second version, only to come out as the third version of yourself. So I think, you know, we live our lives having this code of conduct or a sense of morality. And you're like, does this align with what I believe in, or does this not align with my belief system? And also, those cores and belief systems and values can change. They don't have to stay the same. You can evolve. It is totally normal, which is why I also don't believe in cancel culture. I believe in the culture of redemption. Of course, there are cases where it's like, you need to be cancelled for sure. But if we don't have room for evolution and resolution but after the case of cancellation, then I think then what are we doing? What are we existing for? So that's my long, convoluted answer.
No, that's such a good answer.
From cancel culture to, I guess, social media, what are your thoughts on the Instagram reality of kind of perfection that we live in today, that society of perfection?
Well, I love how you said Instagram reality, because it's not the reality. I mean, people are so driven by this idea of curating the image. Like, I let you see what I want you to see. It's completely analyzed and synthesized to a very particular lens. And so I'm just one of those people that I watch the news and I'm just like, yeah, that's not real, or that's not true. Or I'll see certain narratives and things that exist within the social zeitgeist, and I go, no, that doesn't resonate, because I know what happens behind the scenes. But critical thinking, like true critical thinking and cultural analysis, comes from the ability to not be a yes person or not to be a people pleaser. It's to follow the beat of your own drum. So with social media, I look at things and I think there is a multitude of realities that exist behind that one post or that one video. And for me, I try to make it as authentic as possible and hope that it resonates with people. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay.
But would, I guess, because so many people are so ingrained in using social media day to day, is that disheartening to you?
Not really, because there was a point where I left social media for almost a year. I was offline like 2 years ago, and I just disconnected, and I loved it. It was amazing. And not because I had any issues with being I don't have an addictive personality, so I just left social media and I needed a break. And it was really refreshing to see the world through my own eyes and not have to feel like it was dictated by a very particular curation. But I think that we are now, I guess, the point of origin is shifting. I think a lot of people are now becoming more aware and more learned about the experiences that we see online, to know that you cannot take things for face value. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but I think it's more like 1,000,000 words now. And you have to be the person that is the architect of your own fortune. So you have to be able to discern what is right and what is wrong for you and for your own sense of self-being.
So in your personal experience and opinion, what do you think will happen to us if we were more honest about what the truths in our lives online?
Look, I think it was someone like Brene Brown or something. She said that in order to really shift the point of origin in social situations, we have to do sort of mini acts of social resistance, that it doesn't come in these leaps and bounds. It really comes from these kind of micro steps towards a certain shift in the way that we view society, or a different paradigm that we want to experience. So I think we are slowly edging towards that idea of what is reality, what is artifice, what are the things that really resonate with us? Do we need to show everything? Do we need to have conversations that, don't require, a very particular lens or a very particular narrative? So I think that people are waking up, definitely. And I think it's only just a matter of time before people start to realize that they're not parroting others' opinions, but they have their own opinions, and then there will be more room for those opinions to exist.
Positive viewpoint.
Inshallah. We have to be.
Do you believe in manifestation? And if so, what's on your vision board?
I do believe in manifestation, but I believe in it in terms of religion. I'm a Muslim, so I believe in the power of dua. And I read a book recently, Bint Maryam. I'm so sorry of the author, but it was called The Power of Dua, and it was a life-changing book that really kind of focused on this idea of like, you really have to be very particular about what you want, and you have to narrow it down and focus, which I think is classic, manifestation, all of that. But for me, I'm very okay with the idea of throwing caution to the wind and saying, like, if something doesn't happen for me, it was never meant for me. And the things that do happen to me, good or bad, were meant for me because they are learnings in my life, and I have to evolve and grow within those changes. And I think once you give up that, I think... how would I call it? Like a sense of like worldly agency, and you kind of give it up to a higher power, and your spirituality kind of takes fold, then nothing can ever disappoint you because you've left it to the Creator, the Almighty Creator. There's nothing else that you need to worry about, and you just hope for the best but prepare for the worst.
How lovely. That brings us to the end of the Lovin Dubai show. If people would like to reach you, or how can they listen to the podcast?
They can find me on all social platforms, Spotify, all of those, on the Native Informant, and of course my personal page, which is Sarah Alagrubi.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahra.
Thank you, Casey.
And that brings us to the end of the Lovin Dubai show. We're back with you every single weekday morning, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.